Alone on Valentine's Day, she never expected a CEO's rose to reveal an incredible life-changing hope. Sarah trudged home from work, the chill of the Midwestern air biting through her jacket. The diner's shift had been long, the clock ticking like a metronome, each second a reminder of her struggles. Valentine's Day, she thought bitterly, was just another day to feel isolated in her small apartment with Emma, her spark of joy. The loneliness weighed heavy in her heart as she walked past couples exchanging chocolates and sweet nothings. She never imagined a single red rose would arrive to brighten her gloomy day. When she reached her door, a mix of curiosity and exhaustion enveloped her. A snowy white envelope lay nestled against the frosty wood. Sarah picked it up and pulled out the rose, its vibrant petals eye-catching against the bleak winter backdrop. Confusion washed over her as she read the card. Alex. The name floated through her mind like a ghost. Images of a teenage romance flashed, but the reality of adulthood, filled with responsibility, eclipsed those memories. She reminisced about their high school days. He was the golden boy destined for greatness, while she was busy holding down after-school jobs to support her dreams. Now, he was a CEO, returning to a town that raised him, wielding both promise and the baggage of expectations. They were not from the same world anymore, a fact seeping into her gut like a bad aftertaste. As Valentine's Day lingered in her thoughts, she prepared a modest meal for herself and Emma. The table was set a worn and chipped surface adorned with mismatched plates. The smell of simmering spaghetti filled their small kitchen, a comforting fragrance amidst uncertainty. Then, a gentle knock interrupted her solitude. Heart racing, she opened the door to find Alex standing there, bundled in his coat, but radiating an energy that seemed to warm the frigid air. "Hey, Sarah, I thought I'd drop by," he said, eyes sparkling with sincerity. "Hi, Alex. Thank you for the rose," she whispered, the weight of the past filling the silence between them. "What brings you back here?" As they spoke, laughter mingled with nostalgia, but the edge of judgment loomed close. The townspeople whispered, their disdain for those who forget their roots echoed in every corner. Sarah's own emotional struggles bubbled beneath the surface, where dreams clashed with reality. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. Days turned into weeks as an unexpected alliance formed between them, centered around a community project intended to uplift struggling families. Their initial tension became a soft understanding, yet still, the real challenges awaited. The looming crisis gripped the town. Families were about to lose their homes, and Sarah felt the grip of fear tight around her chest. As the date of the fundraiser approached, hope mixed with anxiety electrified the air. When they gathered the community, Sarah discovered a newfound strength within her. Alex, too, wrestled with his past, determined to turn the tide. Just when everything seemed poised for a breakthrough, an unsettling confrontation emerged from the crowd. "Why should we listen to you?" A voice called out, skepticism lacing the air. Would they rise against the tide of doubt, or would their dreams of connection shatter against the weight of small-town prejudice? "Why should we listen to you?" The voice echoed, a piercing arrow through the already tense atmosphere. Eyes turned towards Sarah and Alex, skepticism glimmering in the crowd. There was the palpable doubt. Sarah's heart raced, each beat a reminder of her vulnerability. She cleared her throat, desperate for words that would wrap around the crowd like a warm blanket. "Because we are here. We care," Sarah finally managed, her voice steady despite the storm brewing inside. "This town matters to us. We've lived it, felt it, and just like you, we want to fight for our home." Alex stepped forward, his presence commanding yet gentle. "This isn't just about money. It's about bringing our community together. Nobody here is alone. The crowd murmured, some arms crossing defensively, others softening in response. A woman in the front, her face lined with worry, raised her hand. You think you can just swoop in and fix everything? What do you know? More than you might think, Alex answered, his eyes serious yet kind. I grew up here. I know the struggle. I am not immune to the problems this town faces. The familiar tension in Sarah's shoulders eased slightly. Maybe this was the moment to share her story, to let them see beyond assumptions. I had to leave for a while, but I came back. I know what it's like to feel trapped, to feel like there aren't any options left. The crowd shifted. Silence filled the space where doubt had once reigned. And I'm not where I want to be yet, Sarah continued. But together, we can create something beautiful. This fundraiser is about hope. It's about lifting each other, not looking down on anyone. A man from the back of the crowd grunted, talk is cheap. We need action. Yes, we do. Alex interjected passionately. That's why we want your ideas, your voices. What do you want to see happen? We can create a better future together. It can't just be a promise, but a commitment. Pockets of uncertainty began to fade, heads nodding slowly. Inspiration flickered like candlelight in the growing darkness. Finally, an older woman spoke up, her voice steady as she stepped forward. I remember when this town thrived. We need jobs, something for the youth. Another voice chimed in, and safer spaces for kids to play. As ideas started flowing, Sarah felt the burdens lifting. The room transformed, a collective spark igniting. The doubts weren't banished, but relief began to seep and hope swirled around them, tangible and real. But just as the mood started to shift from apprehensive to hopeful, the door swung open again, and a figure stepped in. Sarah's heart sank as she recognized him. Derek, the town councilman known for his disdain for change, sneering at everything new. What a great show you're putting on, he jeered, arms folded tightly across his chest. You think you can fix all of this in one night? The room fell silent once more, a heavy blanket of tension settling over them. It was a moment of truth, a tipping point. Would Derek's negativity crush the fragile hope they had just built? With her pulse racing and anxiety threatening to take hold, Sarah took a deep breath. In that instant, she knew that this was not just about the fundraiser. It was about standing up for her dreams, her community, and her own place in this world. Could she truly summon the courage to fight back against doubt and prove that together they could rise above? As she looked around at the faces in the crowd, all waiting for her next move, she wondered, was this the turning point they had been waiting for, or the beginning of a deeper battle? The silence hung in the air, thick enough to cut with a knife. Sarah could feel the weight of Derek's smugness like a dark cloud looming over them. Every face in the room turned toward her, expectant, as if she were about to conjure something out of thin air. Her palms were clammy, nerves prickling, but she fought to maintain her resolve. Derek, she started, her voice firmer than she felt. If you really believe we can't do anything, then you don't know us. This isn't just a show. This is our reality. She took a step towards him, challenging him to dismiss her conviction. We're tired of waiting for someone else to save us. We're ready to fight together. Derek's expression hardened, but she saw a flicker of annoyance in his eyes. It spurred her on, the flicker igniting a deeper fire inside of her. And if you really think the town is beyond saving, you're wrong, she said, the words pouring out like a dam breaking. Every single person in this room has a story. Each one of us has faced the hardships, the disappointments, and yet we're still here. We're still fighting. Voices murmured in agreement, a swell of solidarity filling the void Derek had left. But he wasn't backing down. Look, you can make all the wishes you want, but dreams don't pay the bills, he sneered. You need more than fairy tales to fix this place. You need cold, hard cash and connections. Sounds like you've given up. Derek, Alex chimed in, standing shoulder to shoulder with Sarah. But we refuse to let despair win. Cash helps, yes, but it's not the whole picture. We have heart. We have hands ready to work and minds full of ideas. The crowd began to respond, murmuring louder. Hope swirled back into the room, and Sarah could almost taste it. Ideas flew around her like confetti. Community gardens, local craft fairs, youth job programs. Each suggestion was a seed planted in nurturing soil, sprouting the potential for growth. But Derek clung stubbornly to his stance, arms still crossed tightly. So what? You're going to throw a few events, and everything is magically going to be fixed? His skepticism dripped like poison. No, it's a start, Sarah said, shaking her head. It's the beginning of a conversation. It's not just about throwing events, it's about changing the culture here, building trust, reviving connections. She could see others leaning in, so moved forward slightly, hungry for more. We need to ask for help from our neighbors, businesses, and even from those who have left the town. We can rebuild this place one link at a time. Suddenly, a young man in the back shouted, "And we need a vision, something to unite us." "Yes," Sarah exclaimed, taking this new surge of support. "A vision that we decide together. We'll create a platform where everyone can contribute, share their insights, their dreams. This isn't just about the fundraiser. It's about giving everyone a stake in what's next." Derek's bravado began to crack under the weight of their unity. Yet, a defiant glint never left his eyes. "You really think it's that simple?" Just then, a tiny voice piped up from the corner. It was a little girl, clutching a stuffed bear. "I want to have a playground where I can play with my friends." The room softened. Murmurs of agreement spread as people looked around. The seriousness gave way to laughter, warmth igniting the chilly air. Sarah felt her heart swell. That's what was all about, dreams and children. But as laughter melted the tension, Derek made his final move, a smirk spreading across his face like a dark shadow. "Well, let us see how long this interest lasts. I'll be watching." As he turned to leave, Sarah felt a surge of fear. Would he sabotage their efforts from the shadows? They had built something significant tonight, but it felt fragile, teetering on the edge. Could they protect this hope? Would it be enough to weather the storm that Derek might unleash? As the crowd continued to share ideas and energize each other, Sarah caught Alex's eye. They had to rally the town, now more than ever. But deep inside, one burning question lingered. Were they ready for the challenge ahead? The atmosphere buzzed with excitement. Even after Derek's dark comment lingered like a shadow, Sarah felt a flicker of hope as conversations erupted around her, each person adding their voice to the chorus of change. She took a deep breath, grounding herself in the moment. They were still fighting. "Listen, folks," Alex called out, raising his hands for quiet. The room settled down, but the energy was electric. "We've got momentum. Let us harness it. We can pick a day for our first big event. How about a community cleanup?" Cheers erupted from the crowd. Questions flew like fireflies. Where? When? How? Sarah could hardly believe how quickly everything was falling together. She felt her heart race, the world outside their gathering retreating to the background. "Maybe we can incorporate a food drive?" Someone suggested, a young woman with wild curls and bright eyes. "Yes. What if we partnered with local farms?" Sarah added, the ideas flowing through her like a river. "We can celebrate our produce, create a fair atmosphere, and remind the community of what we have to offer." They built on each other's thoughts, each idea like a drop of rain feeding the thirsty ground. Sarah mused about inviting local musicians, artists showcasing their talents, making it an event the entire town could rally around. But one thought kept creeping back like a storm cloud. "Derek, just remember," she warned, glancing over her shoulder as if he dematerialized at the door. "We need to guard against negativity, especially from people like Derek. We can't let fear dictate our actions." After a round of nods and murmurs of agreement, Alex chimed in, "He might try to sabotage us, but we've got something Derek doesn't. Passion. And that's more powerful than any connection or cash he has." For an instant, the crowd went silent, the weight of their audacity sinking in. Could they really face him down? There was power in their unity, a strength that made her feel invincible, at least for now. Just then, the doors swung wide open, and everyone turned to catch a glimpse of who entered. It was Mr. Thompson, the town's oldest resident, known for his wisdom and sharp sense of humor. A crooked grin lit up his face, his cane clicking like a metronome against the floor. "I couldn't help but overhear," he said, his voice strong and booming. "Sounds like you're planning quite the shindig. You know, it was people like you who put this town on the map once before." His eyes twinkled with a mixture of pride and nostalgia, and the room blossomed with renewed energy. "I have stories," he continued, "that might just inspire some of those ideas. Let us sit down together tomorrow and turn those dreams into reality. How can I help?" His presence was a balm, easing the tension in the air, washing away the shadows of doubt. As they clapped and cheered for him, Sarah felt a deep sense of comfort sweep over her. This was the community she remembered from her childhood, the one that held together in tough times. By the end of the evening, there was a shared sense of purpose radiating from every corner of the room. Everyone hugged, exchanged numbers, and promised to meet again soon. But as Sarah stepped outside, the chill of the night air hit her like a wake-up call. Beneath the swirling excitement, the doubt remained. No matter how much they rallied around hope, there remained that question. What would happen if Derek did decide to fight back? The wind whispered through the trees, echoing her thoughts. She pulled her jacket tighter, fear coiling at the base of her spine. There was so much at stake. Could their spirit withstand the storms ahead? But what she didn't expect was the sharp glimmer of light on her phone screen, an unknown message flashing in the darkness. Something about it felt ominous. With trembling fingers, she swiped it open. Sarah's breath caught in her throat as she stared at the message. The screen illuminated her face in an eerie glow, revealing a single line. "I know what you're planning." Her heart raced. Who was this? Were they talking about the community event? Or was it something more sinister? Sarah's pulse quickened, a mix of intrigue and paranoia rising like a tide. Just when she thought hope was filling the air, someone seemed to be watching from the shadows. The chill wrapped around her, intensifying her unease. She took a moment, squinting at the screen, her mind racing through possibilities. She knew Derek had a network of unhappy followers. Were they trying to scare her away? Was this simply a warning meant to deter her and the others from their efforts? "Focus," she whispered to herself, but the uncertainty gnawed at her. The chill of the night mingled with her anxiety, and she felt utterly alone. Just minutes ago, she had been surrounded by warmth and camaraderie, and now she was facing an unknown threat in an empty street. Steeling herself, she replied, her fingers dancing across the screen. "Who is this?" The send button felt heavier than ever, each tap echoing her anxiety. The silence that followed was deafening, the world around her slipping back into an eerie stillness. She glanced around, half expecting to see Derek's smug face lurking in the shadowed corners. Was he already plotting their downfall? Could he really be that invested in trying to stifle their plans? Minutes passed. Just as she moved to tuck her phone away, a response came through. "You'll regret this if you proceed. It's not too late to turn back." A shiver ran down her spine. Sarah clenched her fists, anger bubbling just under the surface. Turn back? She had already made progress. They were gathering momentum. The idea of giving up felt alien, like running back into the darkness after she had taken steps toward the light. "What do you want?" She typed back, biting her lip as the markers of her determination seeped into the words. Her phone vibrated again almost instantly. "Just to let you know, some things are better left alone." The ominous tone sent a wave of dread crashing over her. A part of her wanted to throw the phone into the bushes, to pretend she wasn't tangled in this web of intimidation. But the other part stronger resonated with the fire she had felt alongside Alex and the others. "Whatever you think I'm doing, I want to stop," she typed firmly, her heart thudding against her ribcage. "Then you want to be surprised by my next move." The reply came, chilling her blood as she read the words. A surge of adrenaline and fury coursed through her. Who was this person trying to intimidate her? Did they really think they could derail the hopes of her community with threats? She was already fighting for something greater than herself. As she walked away from the meeting place, determination ignited within her. Tomorrow, she would face this new hurdle head-on. She would round up her friends, brainstorm more ideas, and tackle whatever came their way. But just as she rounded the corner toward home, A figure emerged from the shadows, a tall silhouette she recognized all too well. It was Derek. Her heart dropped. What do you want? Why was he here now? Sarah, he called, his voice low yet piercing the night air like a blade. Fear mingled with defiance. She straightened her back, ready for whatever challenge lay ahead. What do you want, Derek? She shot back, her voice steady, just enough to mask her unease. Her instincts screamed to run, but she knew she needed to stand her ground. He stepped closer, a smirk dancing on his lips. We need to talk, and as the clouds loomed overhead, the storm approached. She felt that now, more than ever, their fight was just beginning. What was Derek planning? Sarah's breath caught in her throat again, but this time was a different kind of tension. Derek's smirk was unnerving. It suggested secrets hidden beneath layers of manipulation. He leaned against the brick wall, arms crossed, gray eyes glinting with a challenge. The night pressed close around them, as if it were listening in. I didn't expect you to be out here, he began, his tone disarmingly casual. You know, plotting with the others. It's cute. Not the time for games, Derek, she retorted, wrapping her arms around herself as if that could shield her from the unsettling chill. What do you want? He shrugged, an exaggerated gesture meant to appear indifferent. Just thought we could chat about how your little movement is bound to sputter out. I have concerns. Her mind raced. Concerns? What did he actually mean? Did he think she'd decrumble at the prospect of opposition? Are you here to threaten me, or just waste my time? Sarah shot back, her voice gaining strength. The 2 inches between them felt like a chasm, the tension almost electric. I'd never threaten you. Sarah, Derek replied, sincerity lacing his voice even as the corner of his mouth quirked upward. I just want you to see the bigger picture. What bigger picture? She challenged, fists clenching and unclenching to release the surge of pent-up energy. If you think I'm going to abandon these people, you're wrong. We're making a difference. His expression shifted, the smirk fading, replaced with something almost contemplative. And what if I told you that sticking your neck out could come with consequences? There are stakes you haven't even considered. She narrowed her eyes. The darkness around them felt thick with unspoken possibilities. You think scaring me will change my mind? Because I'm not afraid of you or your threats. He stepped closer, and she could feel the heat radiating from him, a force that contrasted sharply against the cool night. You think I'm the enemy, don't you? I know you have enemies, your own people. Derek, you've ripped apart this community for too long. For a moment, silence hung between them, broken only by the distant sounds of the town's nightlife. His eyes held hers, searching for something. Look, what you're doing is noble. But sometimes he paused, his voice dropping lower. The world doesn't work that way. There are people who will fight back, and they may win. You just need to choose your battles wisely. Her heart raced again, the weight of his words pressing against her. And you think abandoning everyone is the answer? Derek shook his head. Not abandoning, but understanding. You have to know when to retreat before it gets violent. Retreat? She scoffed. Violent? I'm not afraid to stand for what's right, even if it gets tough. The brightness in his eyes flickered with something unrecognizable, perhaps respect, perhaps frustration. What if I could help you then? Help me? Now, it was her turn to be taken aback. Why on earth would you help me? He leaned in closer, lowering his voice. Because the stakes are bigger than just you and me. Think about it. We could unite our efforts and actually change things instead of just fighting a losing battle. For a split second, a sliver of confusion broke through her anger. Could they really have a common goal? But the moment slipped away as quickly as it came. Why should I trust you? Because I have something you want. What? A flicker of something mischievous crossed his features, and suddenly Sarah worried what deeper layers lay behind those words. Was he really suggesting a deal? Or was this just another tactic in his playbook? Meet me tomorrow, he said, a note of urgency creeping into his tone. I'll show you. Before she could reply, he turned and melted back into the shadows, leaving her standing alone, heart pounding with uncertainty. What had just happened? And more importantly, could she trust him? As she made her way home, the gnawing question lingered. Was she willing to risk everything for answers, even if it meant finding an ally in her adversary? Tomorrow would bring clarity or chaos. The next day loomed heavy with anticipation. Sarah stood in front of her mirror, her heart thumping like a war drum. She ran a brush through her hair one more time, then let it fall loosely over her shoulders. Today was about answers, and she needed to look composed. She knew she had to be ready for anything. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows from the trees onto the pavement as she made her way to the cafe where they'd agreed to meet. A cool breeze wrapped around her, sending a shiver down her spine, but she pushed it aside. The unease lingering in her stomach had nothing to do with the weather and everything to do with Derek. As she approached the cafe, she spotted him right away. Derek sat at a small table in the corner, a coffee cup cradled between his hands. His expression was serious. Gone was the cocky smirk she had come to dread. Instead, he looked almost contemplative, studying the swirling pattern of steam rising from his cup. "Hey," Sarah said, cautious as she slid into the chair across from him. Her voice was steady, but the pounding of her heart betrayed her. "Thanks for coming," he replied, then took a sip of his coffee. "You look different. Different good or different bad?" She shot back, a hint of lightness sneaking into her tone. "Different strong," he amended, and she felt a blush creep up her neck. "Let us get to it then," she said, keeping the conversation on track. "What do you have for me?" Derek leaned back, his expression hardening. "I know things, Sarah. Things about the group you've gathered. Some of the people you trust, their motives might not be as pure as you think." A chill ran through her. "What do you mean? Who?" He hesitated, lips pressed tightly together, then took a deep breath. "I can't give up names just like that. But I've seen things. I have connections. Believe me, they're not just looking out for your best interest." Sarah swallowed, her mind racing. She thought of the individuals she had allied with, their stories, their pasts. "You can't just drop that bombshell and not follow up." "Look," Derek said, his voice low and urgent. "There's a meeting tonight, and I'm invited. It's south the time and place where the real plans are being made. I suggest you come, but only if you're ready to hear what they're truly saying." "Why should I trust you?" "Because time is running out," he replied, leaning forward. "If you keep pushing like you are, you'll be caught in something you can't control. You need to know what you're up against. And right now, the truth about your friends is part of that." Her breath caught again, but this time it was fear wrapping its fingers around her throat. What if he was right? What if she was standing at the edge of a very dangerous cliff, one she didn't even see? "Okay," she said finally, her voice steadying. "I'll come tonight. But if I find out you're just playing mind games, I won tea," Derek interrupted, sincerity burning in his eyes. "This isn't about me, Sarah. This is about all of us. We have to know what's really going on behind closed doors. If we're going to make an impact, we need knowledge on our side." The cafe was alive with chatter and the aroma of brewing coffee, but all Sarah could feel was the electric charge of uncertainty. As they wrapped up their meeting, Sarah couldn't shake the tight knot in her chest. She left the cafe, Derek's words echoing in her mind. Would this evening bring clarity or only deepen the chaos? With a weight of uncertainty hanging in the air, she vowed to uncover the truth tonight, no matter the cost. But would the shadow of betrayal cast over her connections drive her to make a choice that could change everything? The sky darkened as evening fell, enveloping the city in a deep blue veil. Sarah felt the night pressing in around her, each step toward the meeting place tightening the knot of anxiety in her chest. Streetlights flickered to life, casting a glow that felt both inviting and ominous. She wondered if coming here would be a step toward clarity or another layer of confusion. As Sarah neared the old warehouse on the outskirts of town, her heart raced in sync with her footsteps. The building loomed large, its windows dark, void of any welcoming light. She paused at the entrance, taking a deep breath, the cool air filling her lungs just as the weight of her decision settled on her shoulders. Did she really want to face the truth, no matter how painful it might be? Pushing the door open, she stepped inside. The unfamiliar sense of concrete and faint grease hit her nose, mingled with the anxiety that buzzed in her ears. She followed the sounds of muffled voices, curiosity piquing her resolve. In this dimly lit space, shadows danced around a group of people gathered in a circle, their faces obscured. "Glad you could make it." Derek's voice broke through the hum of chatter. He stepped away from the group, his expression softer than before. "Let me guess. You're the one who put this all together?" Sarah replied, trying to inject some bravado into her voice despite the quiver beneath. "Not just me. Tonight is about us, the decisions we make." His eyes flickered toward the assembly, where a woman with sharp features and an assertive stance took control of the gathering. "Listen up," she called, and silence descended. "We're here to finalize our strategy. Time is short, and we're running out of options." Sarah's heart thudded against her ribs. She had imagined a conversation, maybe a few whispers over shared coffee. Instead, it felt like stepping into a storm. "What is this really about?" She murmured to Derek, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's about everything we've been working toward," he replied, glancing at the woman. "But it's also about finding out who we can truly rely on. Their motives, we need to know they align with ours." The woman's voice cut through the mood, her passion igniting the crowd. "We can't wait any longer. We need action, and we need to trust those standing here tonight." Sarah's gaze swept the faces around her, searching for reassurance. They looked determined, but uncertainty wrapped around her mind like a vice. How well did she really know them? What if Derek was right, and one or more of them were hiding their true intentions? "That's what Derek warned me about," she said, the internal struggle coloring her voice. "How can I be sure that this isn't a trap?" "Because we're all in this together," he insisted, his grip on her arm firm, yet comforting. "Trust me, Sarah, we need each other more than ever." The gathering surged with energy, discussions breaking out as plans formed and ideas collided. Sarah felt both the thrill of hope and the weight of doubt. Could she trust Derek's instincts, or was he leading her down a path to disappointment? As the meeting continued, she caught snippets of heated debate and determination. Each voice felt like a thread, weaving her deeper into the fabric of their cause. But just as she began to feel secure, a sharp voice cut through the air, chilling her to the bone. "Not everyone standing here is on your side," the woman warned, her voice slicing through the optimism that had started to bloom. A cold wave of reality crashed over Sarah. She needed answers, but what if tonight opened doors she was not prepared to face? What if truths came crashing down like shattered glass? Her breath steadied and she clenched her fists, resolve hardening. "I have to figure it out. I have to know." But as the night unfolded, she couldn't shake the feeling that the revelations to come might change everything she thought she knew. Could she face the consequences of those revelations? With tension spiraling around her, Sarah silently vowed to uncover the truth, whatever it meant for her future. Would she find allies in unexpected places, or would betrayal rip through the bonds she thought were strong? As the first whispers of secrets began to swirl among the crowd, Sarah realized that finding the answers could either liberate her or plunge her into chaos. The air pulsed with an unsettling energy. What awaited her in the depths of these darkened conversations? The atmosphere tingled with anxiety as Sarah took a tentative step forward, feeling the weight of every gaze upon her. The woman at the center of the circle, whose name she still didn't know, had a commanding presence. Her sharp eyes scanned the crowd, landing on Sarah as if she posed a question all on her own. "What is your name?" she asked, breaking the tension in the room. "Sarah," she replied, unsure of whether to sound brave or meek. "Sarah," the woman repeated thoughtfully, as if tasting her name. "What matters now is your commitment. Are you willing to stand by us, regardless of the danger?" Sarah nodded, feeling the warmth of the group's energy. But beneath it, a cold realization gripped her heart. What kind of danger are we talking about? Derek stepped closer, lowering his voice. "There are forces at play that you don't fully understand yet. Trust has to be built quickly in situations like this." The woman turned to him, her face sharp with determination. "It's not just about trust, it's about clarity. We're all here to fight for something bigger than ourselves. But first, we need to confront the shadows lurking among us." Her words sent a shiver down Sarah's spine. "Shadows. Were there really people among them plotting deceit? Tension crackled in the air, each whisper and murmur feeding the dread that had begun to settle over her. "I can't shake the feeling that I'll figure out where I stand," she managed to say, looking from Derek to the group and then back to the strong woman leading them. "But how do I know if I'm being led or just being used?" The woman smirked, almost admiring Sarah's resolve. "That's exactly what we need to find out. You have a choice to make. You could trust us or walk away. But know this, walking away means the risk of being hunted." Sarah's stomach flipped. The stakes were higher than she had anticipated, and the implications of walking out felt daunting. She glanced at Derek, whose reassuring nod filled her with both hope and fear. What if he was wrong? What if leaving was the safer option? "Can we just talk openly?" Sarah pushed, desperation creeping in her voice. "Tell me the truth about what's really happening here." The woman exhaled sharply, glancing around the room. "All right, we're fighting against forces that want to silence us, oppress our voices. Some of us have already been targeted. The real fight is just beginning, and I won't sugarcoat it. Trust is our biggest weapon." That truth hung in the air, heavy and precarious. Fear and determination clashed within Sarah. The idea of facing a looming threat was terrifying, yet something deep within her whispered that she needed to stay. The mission appealed to her longing to belong somewhere, to fight alongside others who had strength in numbers. But the question remained, how deep could this sense of loyalty run? Before she could respond, the crowd erupted in discussion again, some voices rising with urgency. "We need to divide our resources. What we tell those who might be spying?" Sarah stood frozen, her heart pounding. She felt like a spectator in a tale that was unfolding without her. What if her decision to stay or leave could tip the balance? Derek leaned closer, his breath warm against her ear. "You're not just a bystander. You have a role here. Find it." The intensity in his eyes ignited her spirit, but her stomach clenched with the realization of the choices she had to face. Somewhere in the murmuring chaos, a defiant thought sparked within her. She couldn't just be passive anymore. She had to reclaim her voice, and just as the excitement of her resolution built, the warehouse door creaked open unexpectedly. A figure silhouetted against the night stood at the entrance, catching everyone's attention. "Did I miss the party?" The voice echoed across the room, teasing, but laced with a tension that made Sarah's blood run cold. Who was this person, and what did they know? Had the shadows finally come calling? The air thickened, and Sarah felt the weight of uncertainty crash over her once more. What secrets were about to spill into the room? Would this stranger bring clarity or chaos? The stranger stepped into the half-lit warehouse, and the murmurings quieted instantly. As the door creaked shut behind him, silence enveloped the space like a thick fog. The tension was palpable. Sarah felt her heart race, weaving between fear and curiosity as she studied the newcomer's face-sharp features, a confident stride, and a glint of mischief in his eyes. "Who are you?" the woman leading the meeting demanded, her voice firm, cutting through the charged atmosphere. The man grinned, hands thrust into his pockets. "Let us just say I have an interest in your little revolution, and I thought it'd be best to come see it for myself." "Interest?" Derek's tone was sharp, distrust swirling in the air. "What do you want?" "Interested to see you here, Derek." "Funny how you keep running into folks on the other side of the aisle," the man said, smirking. The undertone suggested an antagonism that sent another wave of apprehension through the group. Sarah's mind was racing. What did he mean? It felt like the pieces of a puzzle hidden in shadows were swirling closer to the light at last. "Enough games?" the woman retorted, crossing her arms. "Who sent you?" "Like I said, I'm just here for the show," he replied, his grin widening. "But the truth is, you're all in a deep battle you don't fully comprehend. You're deluding yourselves, thinking you can just mobilize for change without facing the opponents lurking in the shadows, powerful ones." A chill ran through Sarah, and she glanced at Derek, who looked equally thrown off balance. "What do you know?" she asked, her throat dry and tight. The man stepped forward, and the gravity of his presence pressed against them all. Let us just say that your little community know the ones pulling the strings at the top don't look too kindly on disruption. They do anything necessary to silence dissent. His words were like icy water cascading over her resolve. Fear bubbled just beneath the surface. The struggle ahead seemed more daunting than she'd ever imagined. But you don't have to be afraid, the stranger added smoothly, his gaze shifting from person to person. Joining forces with me could change the game. I'll show you the way to navigate this without losing everything. Sarah's heart thudded. Could he be the ally they needed? Or was he just another threat cloaked in charm? And what isn't it for you? She asked, challenging him. Survival, he shot back. I want to see real change. But I also know the rules of this game. If you're not careful, your little movement will be crushed before it even begins. A wave of uncertainty rolled through the room. Sarah's blood raced, fighting the urge to succumb to fear. Yet, a voice inside her urged her to keep looking forward. The only way to fight is together, she declared, feeling a surge of courage. If we're going to win, we can't let intimidation break our spirit. The stranger raised an eyebrow. You're feistier than I expected, but feisty won't save you. You need strategy, allies, intelligence. I'll take my chances, she replied, defiance shining in her voice. But I want to partner with someone I don't trust. Smart girl, he replied, almost approvingly, a wry smile flashing across his face. But you need to be prepared. This isn't just playtime. This is the real deal. You're playing against the best. Or rather, you're aiming to take down the worst. As Sarah considered his words, she felt Derek step closer. We need to know who you are and what you want. Fair enough, the mysterious man replied, tilting his head. I'm Wade, but you'll know me when it matters. Just remember, to change a town, you'll need more than hearts and hopes. You'll need a plan. In that moment, clarity washed over Sarah like a wave of fresh air. She turned to the group, her shoulders squaring. We can't let people like Derek or Wade scare us. We need unity. If we prepare together, we can withstand any opposition. Derek nodded in agreement, and even the woman, the charismatic leader, appeared to soften at Sarah's fierce determination. Tonight is a turning point, Sarah declared, meeting the eyes around her. We form tighter bonds. We devise plan. We move forward together, making decisions from a place of strength rather than fear. The room erupted into whispers, debates flourishing again, voices rising with enthusiasm. Hope reignited, swelling around them. What started as an encroaching darkness transformed into a strong alliance. As discussions pulsed with life, Sarah caught Derek's gaze, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. They weren't just fighting for change. They were fighting for their home, for their community, for each other. Just then, a voice rose above the rest, one of the older men of the town, speaking up with clarity. We need unity. Sarah's right. We know this town. We've lived it. Together, we want to be silenced again. Cheers erupted from the crowd, and with that energy, they began to formulate a strategy. As their ideas flowed freely, Sarah felt the dark clouds of doubt dissipate, revealing a bright horizon filled with potential. That it was a battle ahead. Yes, but it was one worth fighting. She glanced at Derek, a bond of understanding building. She felt the weight of community settle comfortably on her shoulders, a line of strength she and T noticed before. They would rise. They would push through. And as the shadows of self-doubt slipped away, Sarah whispered a vow to herself. No longer would she shy away from confrontation. She would dive into the chaos headfirst, ready to forge a new path. This is how real change starts. As laughter, plans, and hope filled the now vibrant warehouse, Sarah felt her heart beat in rhythm with a united spirit. They were no longer alone. They were a force, and together, they could face whatever came next. Now it was time to execute. Did you feel that charge of emotion? This is a moment worth sharing. Don't you want to see more stories like this? You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep these empowering stories alive. Comment your thoughts. What is your biggest takeaway from Sarah's journey? And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, let's inspire change.